The example of Netflix's business is perhaps unparalleled. When Netflix started its business, its competitor, Blockbuster, had 60,000 employees and over 9,000 stores worldwide. In terms of sales, Blockbuster was making $6 billion annually without much effort. On the other hand, Netflix didn't even have enough money to buy a new sofa for its office. Frustrated with this situation, Netflix decided to sell its company to Blockbuster. However, the CEO of Blockbuster laughed it off. History bears witness to what happened next. The same Blockbuster, which once stood like a giant mountain before Netflix, was brought to its knees. Just a few years later, Netflix wiped out Blockbuster's existence entirely. Today, Netflix is a $280 billion company. So how did all this become possible? Welcome back to the Untold Mysteries videos. Viewers, this story begins in 1997, during the rise of internet businesses. At that time, Jeff Bezos was successfully selling books online through Amazon and achieving significant growth. Similarly, Mark Randolph wanted to start an internet-based business, but the challenge was deciding what kind of business to start. For months, Mark carried a notebook everywhere he went, jotting down new business ideas. He would then share these ideas with his friend, Reed Hastings. From selling pet food to baseball bats online, Mark had countless ideas. However, Reed Hastings didn't like a single one of them. Reed had a different vision. He wanted to start an internet business where they wouldn't need to repeatedly find new customers. Instead, they would rely on customers who would keep coming back, generating consistent income. For months, the brainstorming and idea sharing continued, but finally, Mark Randolph and Reed Hastings landed on an idea that made sense: videotapes. At the time, videotapes were one of the primary sources of entertainment. People would spend their weekends visiting their nearest Blockbuster store, spending hours selecting a movie they liked, renting it, and taking it home. However, if they failed to return the tape on time, they would incur a late fee. When this idea struck them, Reed Hastings himself had a $40 fine from Blockbuster for returning a videotape late. Reed believed that this industry desperately needed change. Renting movies online seemed like a revolutionary idea that could work. However, there was a big problem. Videotapes were heavy, and shipping them could be expensive. On top of that, there was the risk of tapes breaking during transit, which would lead to additional losses. This was a major challenge, and Mark and Reed began to feel that their new internet business might fail even before it started. A few weeks later, through a tech magazine, they learned about DVD technology for the first time. DVDs were much lighter and cheaper than videotapes, making them more cost-effective to ship. Reed Hastings had an idea. Instead of renting movies on videotapes, why not offer them on DVDs? This would be more efficient and profitable. And this is where the idea for Netflix was born. Their business model was simple. They would showcase a vast collection of DVDs on their website. Whenever a customer placed an order, the DVDs would be delivered to their doorstep within 2 days. Each DVD would come in an envelope with a prepaid return label, making it easy for customers to send the DVDs back. Although the idea was straightforward, implementing it required funding, something neither Mark nor Reed had at the time. Somehow, Mark and Reed managed to set up a small, low-budget office. They bought inexpensive folding tables and secondhand furniture to furnish it. Employees were hired at low salaries with the promise that they would receive shares in the business if it became successful. With this modest setup, Netflix's small team worked tirelessly for months. They built a website and began purchasing DVDs to create an inventory. After months of hard work, they were finally ready to launch Netflix for the first time. Before the launch, they scheduled interviews with news outlets to ensure ample media coverage as soon as Netflix went live. On August 29, 1997, at exactly 9 a.m., they made the website public. They also installed a bell in the office that would ring every time a new order came in. The first order was placed by Mark himself, and the bell rang for the first time. Just 1 minute later, the bell rang again. This time, it was from a real customer. The Netflix team took creative measures to promote their DVD by mail service. They posted anonymous comments on various internet forums, introducing Netflix's innovative service to movie fans. This strategy worked, and more movie enthusiasts began flocking to Netflix. In the first 15 minutes after launch, the bell rang continuously as orders poured in. However, this sudden surge of traffic caused the Netflix website to crash. Back then, servers were typically housed in offices rather than being hosted by professional data centers, and their single server couldn't handle the overwhelming traffic. Realizing they needed more server capacity, the team immediately purchased 8 additional servers from a local store. After setting them up, they brought the website back online, ensuring Netflix could continue to handle the growing interest. On their first day, Netflix received 137 orders, far exceeding their expectations. Considering that the website had been down for several hours due to heavy traffic, the actual number of potential orders could have been even higher. It became clear that they needed to resolve their website's technical issues to prevent frequent crashes in the future. The first month for Netflix went reasonably well, but not as Mark and Reed had envisioned. While their total sales for the first month amounted to $9,400, only $1,000 of that came from DVD rentals. The majority of their customers preferred to buy DVDs outright rather than rent them. This unexpected trend revealed a gap between their initial business model and customer behavior, pushing them to rethink their strategy. Netflix initially offered customers 2 options: either purchase a DVD for $25 or rent it for $4. Mark and Reed wanted more people to use their rental service because it was far more profitable in the long term. A single DVD could be rented out multiple times, generating revenue until it was damaged, unlike outright sales, which yielded a one-time profit. They also realized that their early DVD sales were thriving because Netflix had no direct competitors in the market. However, this advantage wouldn't last long. A few weeks later, Mark and Reed received a call from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. At the time, Bezos had already dominated the online book market and was looking to expand into the DVD market. He saw an opportunity in acquiring Netflix, which had a functioning DVD business. While Bezos wanted to purchase Netflix to gain a head start in selling DVDs, Mark and Reed were primarily interested in focusing on rentals, not sales. Instead of selling Netflix, they proposed a collaboration. Netflix agreed to share their DVD selling segment with Amazon. In return, Amazon would redirect customers interested in DVD rentals to Netflix. This partnership allowed Netflix to stay focused on its rental business while benefiting from Amazon's established customer base, setting the foundation for their eventual success. On one hand, the deal with Amazon brought long-term benefits, but in the short term, Netflix had to give up the profitable part of its business, the DVD sales segment. If they hadn't partnered with Amazon, Bezos would likely have launched his own competing DVD rental service, which would have put Netflix in direct competition. So, in some ways, the partnership was unavoidable despite the immediate loss. Mark and Reed shifted their entire focus to rentals. They launched promotional campaigns, but these campaigns were a disaster. Netflix also partnered with well-known DVD player manufacturers like Toshiba and Sony, offering a deal. Customers who purchased their DVD players would receive a coupon code for 10 free DVD rentals from Netflix. However, the promotion failed miserably because the coupon code was placed on the outside of the DVD player box, not inside them. This meant that even customers who didn't buy a DVD player could see the Netflix coupon code. As a result, Netflix ended up giving away a lot of DVDs for free in the early stages. Furthermore, only about 5% of these new customers became regular Netflix subscribers, making it a significant loss for the company. To make matters worse, while Netflix was sending customers to Amazon to purchase DVDs, very few customers were coming to Netflix for DVD rentals through Amazon. This lack of customer flow from Amazon was yet another setback. Then, a significant political event occurred in the US that Netflix could have capitalized on, but things didn't go as planned. At the time, President Bill Clinton became embroiled in a scandal involving an affair with a White House intern, Monica Lewinsky. The story became a national sensation, and court hearings were underway to confirm the affair, eventually leading to Clinton being impeached. The entire country was desperately looking for the tape of the trial. Netflix saw an opportunity to take advantage of the situation. They quickly put the trial video up for rent on their website, hoping to attract massive traffic and orders. For a moment, everything seemed to be working perfectly, and Netflix began receiving a flood of orders. However, a big mistake occurred. The company responsible for producing the DVD of the trial video was also involved in making adult films, and by mistake, they sent out an adult video instead of the trial tape. Netflix, in a rush, did not check the DVDs before shipping them out to customers. When the mix-up was discovered, Netflix quickly apologized to all the affected customers, but the damage had already been done. The incident tarnished Netflix's reputation, adding to the company's growing list of setbacks. The promotional efforts, which Netflix had hoped would drive success, ended up causing even more damage. The DVD rental model was still not generating significant profits, and every professional campaign they launched seemed to fail miserably. Then, at a critical moment, Mark had a breakthrough idea, one that would change everything. Up until then, Netflix was essentially doing the same thing as Blockbuster, renting DVDs. The only difference was that Netflix was doing it online, while Blockbuster was using physical stores. Mark realized that Netflix needed to innovate further. He thought, what if they started a subscription model? Under this new system, customers would pay a fixed monthly fee, and in return, they could rent 4 DVDs at a time. The idea was that these 4 DVDs would always be available to customers, and they could exchange them as they wished, keeping the old ones for as long as they wanted without the pressure of late fees. This subscription model offered a major advantage: no late fees, which had been one of the most frustrating aspects of traditional DVD rentals. Fortunately, the idea worked. On the very first day the subscription service was introduced, 90% of the people who saw the promotion decided to subscribe. These were the customers that Mark and Reed had been working so hard to attract. This was a turning point for Netflix, as it began to build a loyal customer base and finally found the right model for success. The introduction of the subscription model caused Netflix's revenue to grow rapidly as customers began paying a fixed monthly fee. This shift allowed Netflix to generate consistent income, with each customer contributing regularly. In contrast, Blockbuster, their biggest competitor, was running over 9,000 physical stores and was making a massive $800 million annually from late fees alone. At that point, Netflix's total sales were only around $5 million, highlighting the enormous gap between the two companies. Ironically, Blockbuster played a significant role in Netflix's success, despite being their direct competitor. If Blockbuster had taken the internet business more seriously, it could have easily crushed Netflix from the start. However, Blockbuster's complacency and lack of urgency in embracing the internet-based rental model ultimately led to its downfall. Blockbuster believed that their physical stores were enough and underestimated the growing trend of online rentals. Netflix's founders, Mark and Reed, knew that their business would only thrive as long as Blockbuster did not launch its own DVD by mail service. They feared that once Blockbuster caught on, their model would be obsolete. So they devised a plan. Why not sell Netflix's entire DVD rental business to Blockbuster? This way, they could cash out and make a significant sum while still continuing to operate within the same industry but under Blockbuster's umbrella. Naturally, they imagined that Blockbuster would continue running the business as it was, with Netflix essentially becoming a part of Blockbuster's payroll. So, Netflix's founders, Mark and Reed, arranged a meeting with the CEO of Blockbuster to offer them their entire business. Initially, the Blockbuster CEO listened to their proposal in silence. But when the founders mentioned their asking price of $50 million, the CEO started laughing loudly. At that moment, Mark and Reed realized that Blockbuster had no interest in buying Netflix, and they left the meeting empty-handed. As time passed, Netflix's subscriptions continued to grow while Blockbuster stubbornly stuck to the belief that the internet business wouldn't succeed. However, by 2004, Blockbuster finally began to notice that more and more of their customers were switching to Netflix. These customers preferred Netflix because they could get DVDs delivered directly to their homes. At this point, Blockbuster decided to launch its own DVD by mail service, but by then it was too late. Netflix had already spent 7 years perfecting its model and understanding its customers' behaviors. They had implemented sophisticated algorithms on their website that could recommend movies based on customers' preferences. This allowed Netflix to offer a highly personalized experience. Blockbuster, despite its resources, could never match the speed and efficiency with which Netflix had tailored its service to customers. By then, Netflix had already built a loyal customer base and established a stronghold in the online rental business, making it difficult for Blockbuster to catch up. While Blockbuster was busy promoting its DVD by mail service, Netflix was focusing on launching video-on-demand streaming, where customers could watch movies directly online without the hassle of DVDs. This was the first ever streaming service of its kind, and it revolutionized the way people consumed entertainment. With this move, Netflix not only catered to US customers but also expanded to the global market, something they couldn't do with the DVD by mail model, which was limited to the US. Meanwhile, Blockbuster was struggling. In a desperate bid to compete, they started making uncharacteristic moves, such as eliminating late fees and even removing rewind fees, which they used to charge when customers failed to rewind the tapes. For years, Blockbuster had been charging extra for these small inconveniences, continuously squeezing money from their customers. On the other hand, Netflix was focused on improving customer experience and delivering value through its innovative subscription model. As Netflix's customer base grew, Blockbuster's decline accelerated. By 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy, marking the end of an era. Despite its massive dominance in the past, it couldn't keep up with the changing times and customer expectations, ultimately giving way to Netflix's more modern and customer-focused approach. Blockbuster took too long to adapt to technology, and this decision led to the downfall of its billion-dollar empire. What Blockbuster did is a part of human psychology. When our business is running well, we want it to stay the same and hesitate to change. During this time, someone else steps in, takes advantage of the situation, and fills the market gap. Something similar happened with Nokia mobiles and Kodak photography. They also failed to adapt to changing technology, and other companies surpassed them. Today, Netflix has 13,000 employees spread across the world, with a company value of over $280 billion and annual sales of nearly $1.9 billion. This is 380 times more than what Netflix was offered for by Blockbuster just a few years ago. The original last Blockbuster store, which used to be one of the 9,000 company-operated stores, has now closed all its stores except for this one. The last store still rents out DVDs. Today, people don't come here so much for DVDs, but rather to relive memories as a tourist spot. I hope you enjoyed this video from the Untold Mysteries. Please like and share it, and thank you so much for your kind comments. See you in the next amazing video.